A classroom in complete silence. The teacher explained the lesson, everyone pretending to pay attention, and suddenly you heard that sound. This is a situation that has definitely happened to you in Clash Royale, one of the most played mobile games of all time, with more than 50 million people at launch, but that today has lost millions of players. To understand Clash Royale downfall, you gotta go back to its roots in 2016, but more specifically to Clash of Clans, a classic game that demanded massive strategy. Every attack had to be planned, every base was built like a defensive puzzle. The problem? It was slow. One build could take more than 14 days to finish. Troops took wars to train. The attacks, the most fun part of the game, only happening after longer wait periods. Of course, there is a magic solution for that. The credit card. Those who paid could speed things up. Those who didn't, waited. Even so, Clash of Clans was a success, cause when you finally played, the game was good, and that's when Supercell realized something important. What if you took one of the best parts of this game and removed everything that make it slow and frustrating? And that's how Clash Royale was born. Okay, maybe not that dramatic. Clash Royale had a simple system, 8 cards, 3 minutes, real-time PvP match. Simple, but with absurd depth. You enter in an arena and whoever played better won. And most importantly, everyone could play. Few people know the feeling of losing a match while being just one trophy away from climbing arenas. Trying to recover and suddenly realize you dropped from Legendary Arena straight back to Builder's Workshop. Those were the simpler times. You didn't need to understand what a win condition was, what a positive illicit trades mean, or what a perfect cycle was. You just entered the map, made mistakes, lost, learned, and came back better. And that turned Clash Royale into so much bigger than just a game. It's become routine, it's become a conversation among friends, especially because of its updates. Clash Royale was living its golden age, and it was by accident. In 2016, tournaments were introduced, adding a new competitive layer, along with the first legendary cards, the Ice Wizard who deal little damage but slow enemy troops, the Princess who had almost no health but could attack from very far away, constantly pressuring the opponent, the Miner and the Graveyard, which broke the game logic by appearing anywhere in the arena, and of course tanks like the Lava Hound, which split into multiple troops after dying, or Spark, which could delete your tower in one shot if you are careful, and in that same direction the Infernal Dragon, which could melt your tower in less than 5 seconds. But also a clear weakness, the Princess was an extremely strong super, but die easily that cheap spell. Even the Lava Hound, which was low, deal low damage and cost a lot of leadership. Yeah, being honest, Lava Hound was always terrible anyway. And here is the most important point, even though the Legendary wears the rarest cards in the game, that didn't mean a deck made only of when was gonna work. These cards still required strategy. Spark needed a Giant, a hard card that protected. The Miner, with his low damage, needed support from an epic card like Balloon, and this got even more complex in 2017 with the introduction of new arenas, Builder's Workshop, Frozen Peak, one of the hardest arenas they scale, Jungle Arena, where you unlock the Bandit, one of the strongest legendary of that time, Rogue Mountain, and finally the iconic Legendary Arena, the absolute peak of the game. And of course, this era brought the controversial and hated Mega Knight, at one point representing over 20% of deck usage. Mega Knight dominated arenas with Bandit plus Giant decks, or Miner plus Bandit plus Infernal Dragon decks. But after a bug fix that made Bandit dash infinitely, his usage dropped significantly, which definitely didn't stop people from using him, especially in Rock Cycle decks with Mega Knight and Fireball, or in one of the most troll decks ever, with Royal Ghost, Skeleton Barrel and Mega Knight. But in the end, none of that mattered much, mainly cause level differences were huge. The maximum King Tower level was 13, so it all came down to strategy. If you play at a Mega Knight in the back, I could save Elixir and build a combo, but if you drop it in alone, I could just expand 2 Elixir on Skeletons and Ice Spirits that defend and activate my King Tower, completely neutralizing him. In other words, the game was almost 100% skill based, but that wouldn't last long. In 2018 and 2019, the game started going through drastic meta changes. The new meta was much faster, counter. The most common decks were Log Bait, X-Bow Control and the beloved 2.6 Rock Cycle. You could no longer wait too long for the right moment. Either ya pressure or ya got pressure. Cycling cards fast, defending with minimal elixir and counter-attack immediately became the rule. Every play involved tried to predict your opponent using reads and predictions that gain time advantage. And it didn't always work. And they didn't stop here. The new meta came alongside the trophy road, which completely changed progression. Trophies were no longer just status, they mean real progress. Guaranteed gold cards and better chests. Unlike the old system, it introduced fixed rewards, making every win feel meaningful. This motivated players that keep playing, cause even after a few losses, progress still feel possible. On top of that, seasons were adapted with new content every month and a battle pass inspired by Fortnite. That pass gave over 30-50 completely free items, making it one of the fairest systems in the game. But that basically didn't last at all. Between 2020 and 2025, Supercell began to find new ways to destroy the game. The new trophy system introduced highlight competitive ranked mode, which was supposed to be balanced by clan wars, a mode where you didn't just play with your main deck, but help your clan, and at first it worked. The Primate Clan Wars brought a fresh feeling and gave players another reason to log in every day. There came Clan War 2 and with it the first major crack. Rewards were nerfed, chests lost value, and what once felt like progress became an obligation. Wars became more frequent. You had to play more days with decks that often weren't even leveled, just to avoid getting kicked from your clan.
Good afternoon. I can't play. My baby was born yesterday, and I am at the hospital. The internet here is really bad.
Congrats, you ruined the entire clan because of this. Hope it was worth it. To make things worse, the system launched full at bugs and matchmaking issues. Small clan facing giant ones. Under-leveled players matched against fully maxed decks. Wars decided by level instead at skill. The result was simple, frustration. But none of that came close to what happened next. Introduction at a new card, Reddit. Champions. On paper, it sounds amazing. One champion per deck, real-time activated abilities, decision that recurring time and game sense. It feels like Clash Royale was finally an addition to depth. In practice, it was the complete opposite. Every champion launched completely broken. It was about learning how to counter it. There simply was not counterplay. Skeleton King turned any small trait into an infinity army. Archer Queen went invisible and melted towers before the opponent could even understand what was happening. Golden Knight dashed across the arena endlessly, ignoring defense that used to work. It wasn't about positioning or elixir anymore. It was about pressuring the right button and watching the damage happen. And worst at all, this became the standard. Almost every new card launched overpowered, dominate the meta for months, and only that got nerfed. Those discards were inaccessible. They were usually locked behind the pass royal or the shop, and to make it worse, you need to be at least level 14 to even use them. Yes, the new maximum level, a level that Supercell had repeatedly promised would never exist. Proprietary play for this change, Supercell launched Slash Royale, an event that promised to be the biggest give in the game's history. Upgrade costs were reduced, gold was more accessible, cards were cheaper, magic books that instantly upgrade cards were more affordable. Everything encouraged players to finally upgrade their cards, and the community believed players spent gold, gems, and books they had saved for months, maxing entire decks. For the first time in a long while, it felt like Supercell was being generous. A simple example, upgrade common cards from level 12 to 13 used to require 5,000 cards. That was reduced to 30,000. But then in level 14, back to 5,000. Supercell simply reuse the old costs at a new level. The same happened with gold. The progression system was technically cheaper, but no one was told beforehand. The result, players lost millions at gold, spent legendary cards, wasted magic books they hadn't saved for months. A massive holdback carried out by the game's own company. That's when free-to-play players officially became the losers. At last, according to Supercell itself, that was literally the name at the update. The idea was simple: reduce frustration for players who lose. If you lost a match, you still get a bite at gold and crowns. But this was never a bonus. It was a trade, a terrible one. Gold rewards for winning were reduced. Overall rewards got worse, and suddenly winning didn't feel rewarding anymore. The game quietly told you that winning or losing didn't really matter. This created a domino effect. If winning yields less, you need to play more matches to earn what you used to before. Meanwhile, the official discourse was that game was more accessible than ever, but the loser update didn't help those who lost. It just made everyone progress more slowly, except those who paid to skip the grind. And pulled by coincidence, Supercell added a more expensive battle pass. Before, the pass Royale had a simple proposal: you paid and you got guaranteed and meaningful rewards. Then someone at Supercell woke up one day and told, what if you make everything worse? The free pass became objectively worse than used to be. Fewer rewards, less golds, fewer cards, bucket cards, wild cards, and rewards that actually speed up progression were reduced or removed. Meanwhile, the more expensive pass gave easier access to champions and more shortcuts. It was no longer a comfort choice, it was a clear barrier. Those who bought it were playing a different game. Progress became about how much you were willing to spend, turning one of the most priced systems in the game into another source of frustration. But wait, it gets worse. Level 15 was added, and this time it wasn't just another number. Unlike previous levels, level 15 didn't use gold, it used elite wild cards, a new extremely hard resource that you could obviously buy. To upgrade from level 14 to 15, you need 50,000 elite wild cards. That means if you wanted to max one card, you could spend $10 or $80 for an entire deck. But if you wanted to max an account with 121 cards, you could spend $1,210. You'd want to spend money? Well, you could max a champion, and every time you got a duplicate from a chest, you would receive 1500 elite wild cards. That means you would need 100 duplicate champions just to max one single card. The number is so absurd that if you wanted to max 100 cards, you would need to get the same champion 12 times every month. That would take 804 months or 6-7 years. That was so long ago that the Egyptian pyramids didn't even exist. I don't know, I wasn't born yet. The worst part is that level 15 didn't bring new mechanics, abilities, or anything that justified the impact. It was just a bigger number beating a smaller number, something Clash Royale tried to avoid in the beginning, when skill mattered more than level. At the point, many people realized the problem wasn't just one bad update, it was a sequence, one decision after another, always moving in the same direction. But everyone would still be fine if they had stopped there, right? Oh no! Level 16, the definitive confirmation that balance limits were broken. Because, unlike what Supercell said in the past, there is always a next level, when monetization demands it. Now you can beat 6,000 trophies and face players whose cards are 4 levels higher than yours. And to justify this update, heroes were introduced, almost like Champions 2.0. In practice, they arrived already trapped in the same meta problems and didn't even last 1 month before getting nerfed. But here is the detail: the most requested hero didn't come as an achievement or challenge, he was locked behind the pay pass. That made the new standard at Clash Royale clear. Desired content no longer come from playing well, it comes from paying. If you wanted to compete in equal footing, you need access to the right hero at the right level at the right time, otherwise you would fall behind until the next meta rotation. In the end, level 16 and heroes didn't represent evolution, they were just another system reinforcing the feeling that Clash Royale was no longer about who plays better, but about who can keep up with the pace at chance imposed by the shop or by evolutions. Okay, I know evolutions arrived before level 16, but they deserve the whole section, cause they were one of the most irritation parts of the game. Evolution were cards that gained abilities after 1 or 2 use, which added a new layer at strategy and another decision make factor. Although there were some creative and balanced evolutions, like Musketeer and Cannon. Most of them were Healing Witch, Healing Bats, Healing P.E.K.K.A, Knight with more health, Recruits with Rage, Barbarian with... okay, fine, nobody even uses you. Evolution killed one of the pillars at the game, punishment for mistakes. Before, a bad placement was costly. With evolutions, many mistakes simply stopped existing, cause the involved card would just start pulling out your cards for 4 elixir. And the worst part is that Supercell almost stopped releasing new cards in recent years to focus on evolution, which are basically purple version at existing cards. This affected one of the most striking features of the game, how unique the cards were, to the point where you could identify a card just by its damage. And guess what? To unlock evolutions, you need evolution charts, which were mainly obtained throughout the past. I think you are starting to see a pattern, or very rarely from chest. And speaking of chess, Supercell decided to change something that had been part of the game identified since the beginning. They removed all the different iconic chests and replaced them with a new generic chest system, where each click has a chance to upgrade the reward. Animation, lights, sounds, all that just for you to receive a banner. Before, the best chest guaranteed a large amount of cards. Now, the new system gives you 4 daily chests with 1 single item and a small chance at getting something good. In other words, a casino. Either you focus on max only one deck or you simply could compete. Is it exhausting to play like that? Yes, but it's the only way for free-to-play players that survive. It's clear that Clash Royale is in decline, even though there's something trying to add something fun. They eventually remove it. Season shop removed, daily mission removed, rewards nerfed, evolution and heroes extremely expensive, free wooden chest removed, maxed duplicate cards no longer converted into cards but into emojis. Everything leads toward the new shop based item system. It doesn't feel like a mistake, it feels like a choice. In the end, what hurts the most isn't losing match. It's not spending gold gems or time. What hurts is realize the game we love is still there. But it's no longer the same. Before, losing was part at learning. Today, losing often just feel inevitable, not because you played badly, but because the other side had the new card, the max level, the right evolution, the pass, and you didn't. And maybe Clash Royale isn't that. Maybe it's just tired, stuck in a cycle where every update promised more, but delivered less so. So the questions remain, is Clash Royale still a game made for those who love to play, or only for those who can afford to keep it playing?